Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Pro Wrestling World Talk Scroll.
Good evening, everybody, or good morning, good afternoon, or whatever time you're listening or watching to this program. And finally, after months and months and months and months of doing previews and review shows for PLEs and AEW pay-per-views, we are finally able to bring back the scroll. And also, we have a writer on, which I will introduce him in a moment, which some people might be outside with torches and pitchforks once they find out who's on. But we'll do our introductions this evening. Hi, I am your host, Daniel Burke. I was not traded by the Boston Red Sox and the San Francisco Giants this week, so I am still the host of this program. And my co-host, who is also not traded to the San Francisco Giants by the Boston Red Sox, Mac, and also he's been my best friend for over 20 years. We're still trying to get over that trade.
I'm still trying to get over the Brad Marchand trade, considering that the Florida Panthers are your Stanley Cup champions.
Back-to-back cups for the Florida Panthers. And the Panthers have now won more Stanley Cups in the last 25 years than the Boston Bruins.
Sorry, delayed reaction.
I felt like that needed the golf clap of golf claps. Congratulations to Brad Marchand on winning the Stanley Cup for the second time in his career. The Panthers, could care less. But yeah, Rafael Devers is no longer a Boston Red Sox. I am still trying to get over this trade. I think financially it'll work out for them because, of course, they're now under the luxury tax. So if you're under the luxury tax, though, how about you lower the beer prices and also the ticket prices at Fenway by at least a quarter of that, considering the fact that now we just have a bunch of rookies. I mean, who's our highest paid guy? Garrett Crochet? I mean, is that it? Is it? Probably. Nobody's making $30 million because I think they just chased him out the door. So whatever. But the Red Sox, again, you sweep the Yankees, and then hours later, it's just like, we just traded our best hitter.
You remember that?
Ain't that great?
Remember that picture you made me find and post on the show one time with John Henry smoking that cigar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that really worked out well, didn't it?
You know what's funny is I submitted that break to WEEI for a part-time position.
I remember that.
And probably because of the language that I put in that, and considering the fact that they have shown Regency biased towards, of course, because EI, you're home of the Boston Red Sox radio network. So there, of course, there's going to be some, I don't know if we're going to bring him on because, if only I was on air when that trade went down. Woo! That shit would have went viral.
Safe bet.
To get out of the local sports reference, folks, I needed to be able to announce that we are bringing back the scroll tonight, finally. And we have brought on a writer from Pro Wrestling World on our Facebook page. And he is a doozy, as they say. One of the better ones. One of the, I would say, controversial columnists for the page. And I am, of course, I'm talking about Manny. And when I found Manny was going to come on, I was like, oh, Manny Ramirez from the Red Sox? And it's like, no, Manny from Pro Wrestling World. And I was just like, well, that's great because there's some things we're probably going to have to discuss. So, Manny, welcome to Pro Wrestling World Talks, and I hope you're ready.
I am ready, and thank you for having me. I'm sorry. I almost fell asleep since you guys were talking about America's most boring pastime, baseball.
Whoa, hey.
But it is okay. It's okay. Hey.
Look, it's not my fault that you're what team do you follow in baseball? Do you have any team that you follow?
Yes, I am a Brewers fan, actually.
You haven't had anything to cheer for since like Ryan Braun.
Hey, come on now. Hey, Ryan Braun was a stud, all right? And we had Yelich.
Light on steroids,
whatever.
But you know.
Okay, hey. We're talking about pro wrestling, aren't we? So, it's right in.
I mean, yes, but like the thing about it is that when you come on and you're just like, oh, we're talking about America's most boring pastime, it's like, that's true. I mean, I gotta ask, Manny, how old are you?
Me, I am 33 years old.
Okay, that explains a lot. That explains a lot because we're both in the range. So, and we also grew up in an area where the Red Sox were the be all end all. So
yeah, but when we were growing up, they also sucked. Let's be real. They did.
When we were younger, they were terrible.
Yeah, they were awful.
And then when we hit our 20s or drinking age, they became a monster. And that's when they started winning. I kind of wish that they won when I was in high school, junior high, to be quite honest, because that would have been the ultimate kind of bragging rights. Because by the time you got to college, you're with people that it's a mixed bag. Some of them aren't going to like the Red Sox, some of them are not. But that's besides the point. Manny, again, welcome to the program. I guess we could start talking about wrestling, unless you want to talk about football, because maybe you want to talk about the Packers
so
and that
look,
situation.
I mean,
there.
You can talk all the smack you want about the Brewers, but
I can't talk about smack about the Packers, I'll admit.
We have the greatest American football team of all time in the Green Bay Packers. We have everything you could possibly want in a football team. We have amazing fans, amazing coaching staff, amazing players. It seriously is the greatest organization in the world.
I do like the fact it's owned by the fans.
I am a stock owner of the Green Bay Packers. I paid $300 about 3 years ago, and hey, I'm one of the owners. So I don't get any true say in the matter, but I feel good about myself because of it.
How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh?
Get him out of here. I predict I predict that Aaron Rodgers is going to give up halfway through the season and call it a career. I don't know what he sees in Pittsburgh right now, except the fact that Mike Tomlin has never had like a true losing season.
They have a very good defense.
I'm excited for
they have a much better team.
Week 9, I believe we play the Steelers. I'm very excited for that. We're going to run through them and make a fool out of Mr. Rogers, Mr. Hayabusa or whatever it's called.
I mean, are you a little bit concerned, though, that could be a situation of Brett Favre coming into Green Bay when he was in Minnesota and kicking your ass? That could happen.
I mean, it's a possibility. Hey, the NFL, anything is possible. Anybody can win on any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. But I have full faith in my Packers and Jordan Love and our new wide receiver, Marcus Golden. We have a great-looking young offensive line. Our defense is young and hungry. They proved it last year. They had great stats all around. I'm expecting Rashawn Gary to stand out. I'm just saying, expect a great year for the Green Bay Packers.
Are you a basketball fan at all?
A little bit. I think I'm a big fan of the Knicks. Surprising.
Right? Okay.
I've always been a fan of the Knicks. I haven't been just a bandwagon fan, but I've been a fan since the Melo days. Not
how
too
funny
long
will
ago.
it be if Giannis ends up as a Knick?
That would be pretty hilarious. I don't want to see him leave Milwaukee. I think that he's the best thing that's happened to that team ever.
I think Lou Alcindor and Oscar Robertson would probably chime in and stick otherwise, but
those boomers don't know anything about the modern stats of the game.
You got Kareem and Oscar Robertson being like, "Hi, yeah, we won a championship here too." Mind you, that was 50-something years ago, but still.
Yeah, I'd have to brush up on my history for the NBA.
Well, I mean, it is. It's the NFL and the NBA, and then as far as actually for me, it's baseball, NBA, and then the NFL. So, of course, though, I did give 20 years of having 20 plus years of watching football for the Patriots every week because I was blessed with a god at quarterback. But it still was not the last couple of years of being able to just be like, I need to unplug for a bit. That was way too much.
Too much winning. Yeah, that's always bad, right?
No, it's just because it's a lot of devotion to time because you're watching every single week because you don't want the run to end.
So did you feel bad when you guys cheated? Or
We didn't cheat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, look, we gave you a Super Bowl, okay? We did.
Oh,
we technically
yeah.
Super Bowl 31, we gave you that Super Bowl, all right? Like Bill Parcells did not leave the Patriots. We would have won that game.
Whatever helps you sleep at night. Either way, you're going to wake up with a sore back. It's okay.
Look, we still got 6, and you guys got, what, 4?
Yeah, I mean, stats, schmats, you know. Or you're looking 100 years past. You know, I'm looking towards the future.
Well, I mean, we're looking to the 100 years past. I mean, we could eliminate the first 2 you guys had. We can go from if we're looking from 1995, so then you would only have 2, and we'd still have 6. I mean,
but Super Bowls aren't everything. Look, I mean, you can argue all day long that Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, but for me, nobody is better than Peyton Manning. I'm sorry.
What the fuck is that?
I believe that Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time. He proved that, hey, these young guns, they don't mean nothing to me. I'm the man. I'm gonna go out there. There you go. See that, Papa John? Dot. Greatest of all time. And then after Peyton Manning, let's see. Dan Marino.
I mean, what the fuck is that? He never won a chip. Not one. Like, Peyton Manning, 1.5 championships because that Denver defense won him the title at Super Bowl 50. So that's like 1.5, I would say. I mean, yeah, he got him there. He's better than Brock Osweiler, but you look at his stats that year. Yeah. All right.
I mean, Brock Osweiler wasn't that bad. Let's not give the guy too hard of a time.
My God, you're just coming in there with everything hot tonight.
I don't know what to say. I'm sorry that I'm being honest. You're
being honest and you're being controversial. So these are very jockish statements.
Controversial.
What are you Googling it right now or something?
Controversial.
No, I'm just
controversial.
Yeah, I'm here to talk about wrestling. All right, I'm not here to be controversial or anything like you're trying to say. All right, I'm here to give the fans of the podcast and the fans of the page, what they want, and that's Manny.
That's sure. They do want Manny.
Thank you.
They do want Manny. Some people want to hear what you have to say, and other people's are just like, "What the hell is he talking about?" That's the thing, Manny. We're in the same business. I get it. We say things that maybe people don't understand, don't want to accept. For 5 years ago, I was the only one on the Hill, other than Jim Cornette. I was the only one on the Hill saying that AEW has glaring issues that they need to fix because long term, it's not going to work out for them. Lo and behold, the last 2 or 3 years, people were starting to be like, well, AEW's got some issues. And it's just like, yes, because they've had the same issues since they were incepted. And now, yes, they're doing better than they were a year ago. But are they going to be, now with this WBD split that's going to be happening, from what I understand, they're going to be on the end that's going to be saddled with that $35 million worth of debt. $35 billion worth of debt, excuse me. That's with a B, not an M. You have to wonder their long-term health. And because I feel like the media landscape is shrinking, it's not expanding as many people thought it would with the streaming wars and all that stuff. I think Hollywood maybe bet too much, Hollywood and media for that matter, bet too much on the streaming battle. And now AEW in 2 years, what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to be as financially successful as they have been? Yes, because they're making close to $200 million in revenue every year. I think it's about 155, 160. But Are they going to be able to sustain themselves? How are they going to be in 2 years, considering they've already had to go to smaller buildings and they're not selling out the smaller buildings every week? So it's tough because sometimes you're on the side of, I think in the business sense, I think of the future sense. And everybody is just thinking about the here and now. What people need to realize is that sometimes you need to play the long game and thinking about maybe you're not getting your instant gratification for your take, but maybe in 2 years, maybe in 6 months, that take will age like a fine wine. So that's why having Manny on this program, I can give him that explanation and tell him that, yes, people might ridicule you now for your takes, but in 6 months to a year from now, you might be ahead of the curve.
I hear you. All right. And I'm going to try and keep this basic enough for all the jabronis and the smart marks to understand. So AEW is needed, especially in this landscape of professional wrestling, because in my opinion, WWE is where the entertainment mainly is. The matches aren't nearly going to be as good as we can get on American soil because of bans and all this stuff they have to cater to sponsors. And that's fine. The WWE product isn't awful. I'm not saying that it's the worst it's ever been. I truly think that Triple H has done a good job. I think TKO has also done a great job in expanding their market to international. Like all these crazy over the seas shows have been spectacular, seeing all the fan reactions. Like, I'm so down for a big show like WrestleMania in the UK or even France. Like, these places prove that they are diehard professional wrestling fans, and I think that they earn it. But back to the main point, AEW, for me, I've always been a supporter of the independent promotions. And I feel like AEW took the independence and made it mainstream in the professional wrestling business, kind of like WWE, but I don't view them as competition to WWE. I just view them as the alternate. Like, if I want to be entertained and watch some good storylines or see who Dominic Mysterio is going to make out with this week, I'll watch Raw. I'll check out SmackDown. But if I want to watch some good hardcore wrestling or some just great technical wrestling, a 25-minute banger on a weekly TV show, I'll turn on AEW. And if I want to watch people just strike each other in the face for 20 minutes, I'll turn on some New Japan, because why not?
I think what you just said is so important when you said that it's not the competition, it's the alternative. I think so many people, unfortunately, they do not view it the same way, and they view it as competition. And I know there's a camp for either side that fails to see that. In WWE, we've talked about it on the podcast where the counter program is actually, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have like 3 shows again. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes with one of the counter programming shows coming up in a few weeks. But it's just, people need to stop. Like, it's so simple to see it that way, but at the same token, it's like, it doesn't need to be that way. It just doesn't.
I feel like AEW has also taken a step back as far as referencing WWE, as far as bringing them up as a competitor. I feel like now, I would say in the last 12 to 18 months, they have done everything they really have could to kind of stay away from it. With the exception of the CM Punk all-in London footage.
I feel like that was when it started to change.
That was the true, for me personally, that specific episode was when I was like, I don't appreciate this. I think this makes you guys look like complete idiots. I wasn't watching AEW for like a couple months after that, because it was truly just the Young Bucks coming out there and being edgy for no reason. It's like we had 4 different MJFs at once.
I felt like it was the turning point too for them, because I felt like after that it was like, let's stop referencing them all the time. And Ospreay did make that outdated reference where it was just like, well, you're married to boss's daughter. It's like, okay, first of all,
yeah, I mean, Ospreay.
This is a dated reference, Will. A very dated reference.
Ospreay says some pretty stupid stuff, that's for sure. But I when I watch his matches, I truly think he's one of the greatest athletes in the business.
He is.
He does miss some points. So go back and watch an Ospreay match from 2016 and watch one nowadays, and you'll be like, wow, what an improvement. He can tell a story now. He can sell. But there's still some things that he should tweak in his matches. I like, not every match of his has to be 20, 30 minutes and kicking out of the Hidden Blade or the Stormbreaker, and then he has to pull out some All Japan Pro Wrestling finisher from 1997 to put him away,
I think my problem. I think the thing with Will is that he is introduced a generation of copycatters already. There's so many guys, and especially in AEW, I feel like that there's 4 guys now trying to look like Will, talk like Will, act like Will, work like Will. And that's great and all, but at the same time, it's like there's only one Will Ospreay.
Exactly. And I mean, if you truly look at Ospreay and listen to his interviews, he took a lot of inspiration from AJ Styles.
He did.
So it's like everything in wrestling is just stolen at this point. It's just, what is that extra special thing in your character that sets you apart? That's probably why Jey Uso is so over, and same with LA Knight. It's just they have that it factor that gets the crowds and the kids going crazy. And
aren't you lucky you didn't have to do the show during the Jey Uso World Championship era?
No comment.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So obviously the shoot, we pulled the post of the writers on the Pro Wrestling World Facebook page. The one that I did not pull, mostly because I forgot, but it will be honorable mention anyways, was by Gold Standard about the Jey Uso reign. This reign was exactly what it needed to be. Short, sweet, to the point. He was never meant to be more than a placeholder for a real world title contender like Gunther. Y'all got what you wanted, which is a gold title reign for Jey Uso. You got it. If he never wins singles gold again, I am 100% satisfied. No yeet by the Gold Standard.
Okay, first off, Gold Standard is a complete doofus, but I agree with most of the things he says. He said short and sweet. It wasn't sweet. It was short.
I was thinking the same thing. It was short, but I wouldn't call it sweet.
I don't think. Look, I wouldn't mind Jey Uso maybe getting another mid-card singles title run or something. He's over. He's really over, and he's making them lots of money. I don't personally care about that stuff, but for some reason, fans do. So if that's the case, I mean, he should be given something. But that world title, you have to have more than just the character. He had the worst spear in the business. He hit 12 super kicks a match. 80% of them didn't connect. And all of his big matches were the exact same. I love the Usos. I think that as a tag team, they're one of the greats for WWE. But Jay by himself just didn't click for me. And the gimmick, the whole yeet thing, that's so 2016 middle school crap. What are we doing? Yeet.
I think the biggest thing that I could say about Jey Uso in the last 2 years has been every time that they have given him a big match to perform in, to prove himself, he's failed. SummerSlam 2023 against Roman Reigns, probably Roman's worst title defense in that 3.5-year title reign. The match against Jimmy at WrestleMania, failure. The match against Gunther at WrestleMania, not great. I think the matchup he had with Logan Paul, probably Logan Paul's worst match that he had Saturday night's main event. He has just failed at every big match he has had. And that is not becoming of a world champion, in my opinion.
And I agree with you 100%. I want to say, and the match against Gunther recently where he lost, I think that was his best match.
It was better than the Mania match.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it was better than the Mania match.
I thought the ending was great, and it's crazy because then I sound like that person that's biased because Gunther won. If Jay would have won, I still would have given his flowers.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought the match overall was good, and the ending was great. Very old school. I love that. Yeah, Gunther's him. I really like Gunther. I hope that they give him a proper world title run. Hopefully they don't make him look like a coward.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about
we'll talk more about him.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment.
But speaking of Saturday Night Main Event from a couple weeks ago, or over a month ago at this point, you actually had a post there, buddy. Manny here on May 18th. Just a friendly reminder that we are currently living in the worst era in all of wrestling. Have a bad day, jabronis. And it was the match at Saturday Night Main Event with Jey Uso and Logan Paul, and R-Truth and John Cena were your pictures.
Okay, so do I really need to explain?
I don't think you need to explain, but hold on a second, because it's funny that Dan asked you earlier about your age, because I feel like the early 90s was arguably worse than this era right now.
Okay, hear me out. Of course, as a wrestling fan and a writer for the page, we over-exaggerate a little bit. Just a tiny bit. But I do want to say that I don't want this to sound like I hate R-Truth. Okay? I love R-Truth. I always have. It's just for a main event of a Saturday night's main event, you're having him go against John Cena in a non-title match, and then he loses, and then he gets released, and you couldn't have added a stipulation like
loses in 5 minutes.
Yeah. As for Logan Paul versus Jey Uso, I hate them both.
Well, I mean, it was already said, like it was Logan Paul's worst match since he joined the WWE.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not his fault.
I think
Oh,
Logan's
absolutely
really
not.
I think Logan's really good in the ring. It's just his mic skills. They just really need to cut it short. They need to cut his promo time down to like 30 seconds to a minute, like bullet points. Get to the point quick. But
he just gets like I remember when he was in Elimination Chamber, I think it was, and LA Knight came out and had that map promo. Just he gets eviscerated on the mic, and it's like, Logan, stop talking.
I think the problem
Just
with
stop.
Logan is that he's trying to cut a promo as a podcaster, and he can't do that. Like he thinks that when he's podcast, like it's just like, it's like a podcast. No, it isn't. It isn't. It isn't a podcast. You actually have to have bullet points and go into it and have a point with everything. Maybe script it just a little bit, a line or two in there. Not having a line or two in like bullet points in a promo, because it centralizes everything again. Then you have your point of just like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Instead of just, podcasting, it's different where you can spurt off into different territories where you're starting off in Bismarck, North Dakota, and then all of a sudden you're in Jersey. But it happens. It happens on this show quite a fucking bit. But at the same time, I'm not cutting a wrestling promo. Okay? I'm not trying to sell tickets or sell a match or sell somebody to take it seriously that I'm facing Jey Uso for Saturday night's main event.
Because I'm not booked.
You have to be able to take it seriously and also have the points across. Get the point across. That's what you're supposed to do with a promo, not being a podcaster trying to cut a promo. Yes, folks, I do understand the difference.
But he wants to go viral.
I think you've clarified that you know the difference. I think you've clarified that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Logan Paul has good charisma, but unfortunately his style in the ring is one day going to catch up to his character, because, you can't always be that flashy and cool as the bad guy, and Logan Paul will never be a good guy. He's just too bad of a person to be a good guy.
He's just not a believable good guy at this point.
And that's true. He's not a believable good guy. I mean, everything about him that is genuine just screams fake.
He's a much better version of Ricochet, though.
All right, moving on. Manny, we'll revisit your post a little bit later, but we have another post, this one about what happened, sort of, with Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw. About 3 minutes into her match with Kairi Sane, she gets hurt. Very unfortunate. Looks like she's going to be out for a number of weeks. Uncle Evan wrote, honestly, Liv should still hang around on air even while she is recovering, constantly being in Dom's business the whole time because she knows this is how it played out the last time, referring to when Rhea Ripley got hurt. That's just his opinion, though. What do you guys think? How will this play out? Will history repeat itself?
Uncle Evan. That guy? That guy right there? All right. Look, I've always been a fan of Liv, and I feel like she's always been overhated. And I never wish injury on anybody. No matter how much I don't like their character, I don't wish injury on anybody because that sucks. Especially with Evolution right around the corner. But I really wish that Liv was elevated more in the singles competition instead of the tag team for the women's, because that division has always been cursed and awful, if I'm being honest. And I feel like someone that has the dedication and is as good as Liv should be in a higher spot.
I don't disagree. I think it's very unfortunate because whether it was going to be for Evolution, Saturday Night Main Event, or even Night of Champions, she was obviously about to enter a program with Nikki Bella. So I will be interested to see how they pivot away from that, and I would not be surprised for this whole thing with Roxanne Perez to now escalate. Just seems like you just keep reaching into the same bag, but if the same bag keeps working, good for Dominic, I guess. I don't know what else to say, but it sucks. I agree, though. I saw Rhea Ripley also had a similar post about don't celebrate people getting hurt. It's just, it's tacky, it's unseemly, it's not necessary. But I agree, Liv, regardless of a program with Nikki Bella, definitely needs to be elevated back to her main event status.
I never understood the hate for Liv Morgan.
Me either. We've talked about that.
I've always felt she has done things the right way. She didn't know, she didn't have a famous last name. She started out as a Hooters girl working on the indies in the tri-state area. Fell in love with the industry as a kid, wanted to work for WWE, lived out her dream, and has been a main event player for the last 2 years. 3, actually. You could go back to when she beat Ronda Rousey when she first won the title after Money in the Bank, which elevated her. Now, that's one of the times and the gift of the Money in the Bank that elevated her career to massive heights. And the Rhea Ripley feud, the stuff with Dominic Mysterio, raised it even higher. It's unfortunate the fact that she's not going to be able to perform at MetLife in front of her hometown area in that tri-state area. And it's also unfortunate she's not going to be able to work Evolution because she should be one of the featured players as far as not just women talent, but talent in the company itself. She's one of the biggest stars they have. And she's on the cusp, too, of being a breakout star. In Hollywood, probably. She's probably going to be a Hollywood it girl in the next couple of years. So, and then you were going to be clamoring, sitting here being like, who's going to replace Liv Morgan? Because she's going to be getting Hollywood paydays, and we're just going to be like, great. Now it's, instead of Liv Morgan, we got Roxanne Perez and whoever for the 400th time. Great. Lia Valkyria and Roxanne Perez and the feud that'll never end. Because Stephanie Vaquera is also going to Hollywood because she's now got Hollywood aspirations. Great. They're all leaving. They're all leaving now. And we'll just be stuck with Roxanne Perez. And it's Roxanne Perez. And just now for eons and eons. And Lia Valkyria for eons and eons. And Charlotte will still be there winning straps too. Because why not?
100%. And then at Evolution, it'll be Nikki Bella versus Stephanie Vaquera.
Yes. Oh, my God. Oh, Nikki Bella. Just Nikki Bella being back. I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I don't know what's worse, Nikki Bella or the guy Gunther has to face at fucking Saturday night's main event.
I don't think it's close. I don't think it's even close. I'd rather see Nikki Bella. And I'm not even a Nikki Bella fan or anything like that.
I like there's certain things I like about Nikki Bella. I don't like her in ring work, but that's besides the point.
I think her in-ring work improved a lot as opposed to what it was, of course, with the Twin Magic and the Bella Twins.
It got better. Yes, it did.
You know, even at that time compared to TNA or Stardom,
she went from an F to a C.
Having the torture act was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that was also what kind of destroyed her neck, too, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, those moves are very dangerous. They don't look like it, but they are.
Yeah, it's the simplest moves sometimes. Like Hogan with that leg drop, that screwed him up, too, with his back and his...
He's made of metal.
Yeah. I mean, it sometimes looked like the least devastating that ended up being the most catastrophic for people like later on in life. So, all right, who's next?
All right, switching up gears a little bit for the next one. I think this will be something interesting to talk about. This one was by Tommy Blood. He says, "What's up, Marks? Macho Man is one of the most underrated legends in wrestling history. Despite his massive influence, he's rarely given the same credit as contemporaries like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair. Savage wasn't just a charismatic promo, he was also phenomenal in the ring. A phenomenal in-ring technician, who delivered classics in an era when storytelling often trumped athleticism. His matches with Ricky Steamboat, Ultimate Warrior, and even Hogan himself are still studied for their psychology and drama. Beyond that, his commitment to his character, intense work ethic, and ability to reinvent himself kept him relevant across eras. Yet somehow his name is often left out of the greatest of all time conversation, which is a disservice to what he brought to the industry." I don't think he's underrated at all.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Macho Man is underrated. I think a lot of people do consider him an all-time great.
Absolutely.
Still to this day, you'll see like Macho Man Slim Jim holders. You'll see so many like shirts and Target and all this.
Yeah.
You'll see people wearing it all the time. Like even I'll see like kids wearing Macho Man shirt, and I'm like, he died before you were born. But and there's a lot of Macho Man matches, especially the obvious Ricky Steamboat one at WrestleMania 3 that will always be good no matter what. I mean, I watch that match once a year at this point just to make sure that the landscape of wrestling hasn't changed too much. And it always hits that sweet spot. And I do think that he could have gotten a couple more world title runs over Hogan. There were a lot of Hogan reigns and stuff during that time that weren't really necessary. Just pretty much like, we don't have anybody else, so here you go, Hulk. But overall, I think Macho Man is pretty rated well.
I think that he's underappreciated and overlooked. I wouldn't say I think he's overlooked only because of the fact of that, in the late 2000s and the early 2010s, even though he died in 2011, but, late 2000s, 2010s, there were guys like Hogan and Flair that were still kind of with companies. They were at that point working with TNA, that were working with WWE at certain points, and they still were around. And they'd still show up on social media. You'd still see them with like interviews, like Larry King, who was around back then, and they would still do a lot of talk show appearances and stuff like that. Savage didn't do anything really other than the rap album and that little cup of coffee he had in TNA in like 2004. We really didn't see anything from him up until his death. So it was
you can't forget Bonesaw and Spider-Man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was like 2002. That's true. But like there's still things that like he was a part of that. But between like 2005 and 2011, there was nothing. There really wasn't anything. There was the little appearance that he made with Mattel because he made that Legends deal with the action figures. That happened in 2010, which surprisingly, actually, at the recent wrestling classic event, I just bought the WrestleMania 3 Macho Man defining moments figure. So another Macho Man checked off the list. But I don't think he gets because Hogan and Flair, right or wrong reasons, have been able to still be in the headlines. Even Warrior, I felt like, yeah, I know. Trust me.
I got you. Hold on.
Even
least
Warrior
favorite of all time. Least favorite.
He's up there for me.
Him and Slaughter. Him and Slaughter up there.
How can you hate Sergeant Slaughter?
Slaughter was pure character. Slaughter, like his character, I just hated. I hated it. I hated the face version. I hated the heel version. I hated it.
I thought the heel version was fun, but
I mean, it was good. Like the heel version was so good. He was getting death threats and like burning packages at his door.
Yeah,
that took some balls.
It did, and also to go from GI Joe to an Iraqi sympathizer, it's just like, oh boy, that's hell. All right,
you want to try that nowadays?
Yeah, no way.
Anyway, you were saying
not a chance. No, but I felt like Savage just has never really gotten. And I mean, it might be his own kind of self-isolation for a few years there. I mean, there was the rumors. I don't know how Lanny, because there's always been that rumor that he didn't want to get inducted into the Hall of Fame unless it was the whole family that got inducted, which I was kind of like, that made no sense. I mean, because like he always propped his dad up to be like this legendary figure, and it was like he never won the NWA championship, he never won the WWF championship, like, and he was running outlaw promotions in Memphis against Lawler, like, and then he wasn't. Like he was a moderate star in, I think, Florida for championship, like for Eddie Graham. That's the only time that I've ever really heard about Angelo Poffo. And he made it sound like that his dad was like one of the biggest legends in the industry of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And he wasn't. He wasn't. But he died on that hill. And that was supposedly the hiccup of why he never got a Hall of Fame induction when he was alive. And that's why we waited for so long. And that's, then there's the rumors I really don't want to talk about that's why I kept him out of the WWE for so long.
Yeah. Which I think those are complete bull. I don't buy any of that one.
Then you go to that biography that they did where they had Gorgeous George talking about his drug use. And it's just like, why are you burying him? Why are you burying him? Why is this here? Why is this fucking here? Like, I don't see you doing that with Warrior. You made the little footnote about the little Yukon speech that he had. No, that should be a pretty goddamn good piece about that, considering the fact of and what about his comments that he made about the Hurricane Katrina victims? But okay, yeah, well, let's bury Macho Man. Give me a break. And I feel like that's part of, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's just like I need to just follow up with this last point. I feel like that they're maybe now with TKO involved that they'll push Macho Man more to the forefront and also make it more positive instead of, because I felt like under the McMahon era, at least, that they tried everything they could to get every legend over the Macho Man, because the Macho Man and them, just for some reason, there was something there. I don't know if it was imaginary bullshit or if it was more to the line of the rumor that everybody talks about.
Yeah, I think Macho Man, I think current TKO, I think they replaced him already with like LA Knight and Jey Uso for the Slim Jim stuff, and you never see them promoting or showing any of his highlights and any packages ever.
I still hear it every so often in the commercials, like in the Randy Savage voice, but I mean,
they still have they have him like on a monitor, and they still pay homage to it, which I think is more than what, to be honest, I think is more of what they Vince would have done if LA Knight got it. I don't think he would have even been involved in production. I think it would have just been like, hey, it's LA Knight's now. Move on.
Yeah, and I think for that 2005 to 2009 period where Macho Man didn't do anything, I truly think he was just done with the business. He wanted to just enjoy the fruits of his labors, He really didn't have much left, and he was just living a life. And then he shot on Hulk Hogan a little bit.
He did, but who hasn't?
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
I miss the Sheik just for that.
I know. I miss it.
Sheik was a wild man.
One of the best backstories too for a performer, like one of the like really just unbelievably fascinating. His whole like background, and then you're like, why is he a lunatic? Well, maybe because of all this. Oh, that makes sense.
Quite
yeah,
possible.
it does.
Quite possible. I would rather the Sheik than this next person, though, which just made me throw things at the TV the other day. Goldberg's back. Goldberg is here, and he challenged Gunther to a World Heavyweight Championship match at Saturday night's main event in 3 weeks by the Prophet.
Well, Goldberg matches, they're like fast food. Quick, predictable, and leave you wondering why you even bothered.
It's funny you say that because Gunther posted on social media, sorry to cut off, but Gunther posted on social media that he had about 3 minutes to spare.
Yeah, that is awesome. I think Goldberg is truly like a huge draw in wrestling history, but him coming back and then getting this title shot against Gunther truly makes zero sense. They could have told a better story with it. They could have got him involved some other way, but there's no way that this match is going to be great. I think
a draw for about 18 months in his entire career. Let's just put that out there.
I mean, he got some pretty damn good reaction and sold some good merch in that 2016 when he came back.
That's true. I mean,
he wasn't like.
But I include that in the 18 months.
Well, yeah. I was actually going to say the same thing. I was going to say the same thing. But the one thing I want to say here, just real quick, is they should have done this months ago when they first teased it, so to speak. I understand that you want to build it for something, but Saturday Night Main Event is not it. And I hope my biggest hope is that they do not do this the way they did Bray Wyatt dirty and have him lose to Goldberg. Gunther should not lose to Goldberg.
I agree. And my thing is, my true prediction is I think this is going to be a 10 to 15 minute match.
Oh.
I think that Goldberg is going to try and do a lot here for his last run, his last match. And Gunther's a good person to do that against. Gunther has great stamina. He's a good worker. I think we're going to see, a bunch of like rest holds, kicks, slams, whatever.
What a carry job this is going to be.
But I don't think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's still going to be slow and groggy in Goldberg's moments. And Gunther's going to have to do his best to carry. What I want to happen is just Goldberg go for the spear, get chopped in the top of his bald head, powerbomb, call it a day. Gunther leaves as this insanely over heel who just destroyed the legacy of Goldberg. You're last. You're done. You're retired.
I hope.
But that's not what's going to happen. He's probably going to spear him, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. New world champion.
Ah, Christ.
And TKO is going to sit there in their office losing their minds.
I don't think Triple H is going to book it that way because I don't think he would have had Bray Wyatt lose to him in 2020.
I mean, that's fair. I don't want to see that, and I don't want to see this.
I can't believe Vince did that, but like no actual person with a common brain would have tanked your biggest moneymaker at the time. The Fiend was such a great idea and it looked awesome, but it was executed awfully. And that's something that I hope fucking keeps those people who are in charge of creative up at night, because that's bullshit.
I just don't understand too, because it's like, I guess it was Goldberg convinced him to make the change. And it's just like, why couldn't you listen to him in like 2003 and 04 then? Why are you listening to him now, fucking 16 years later when he's in his 50s? Like that now it doesn't make sense. 16 years ago, you should have listened to him. Now you're listening to him when he's past his fucking prime?
I mean,
it made no sense.
They listened to him back then, but they were just like, okay, so now we're just going to use you so we can add another reign to Triple H, We got to make him look better for the future.
Well, I mean, remember in that 2002 and 2003, I beat all those ECW and WCW heroes. I had to. I was the conquering star. I beat Goldberg. I beat Booker T. I beat Scott Steiner. I beat Ric Flair. RVD. Let's throw him in there. I beat them all.
Even the smaller like class people like Tajiri beat the fuck out of. Oh man,
Van Dam 1 week.
Yeah.
See,
Tommy Dreamer 1 week.
that 2002 period I really do like. I think it was a great year, and I enjoyed most of Triple H's reign of terror. I think even in the matches where he like buries people, they're pretty good matches, and I think that that reign was kind of needed to really set Evolution up as a great faction. But man, they really just shit the bed on a lot of people.
When you lose, sorry to cut you off, but when you lose Austin, when you lose Rock too, it's like you kind of gotta have the guy that's been around that same time, and he's not leaving. You have to have that sustainable guy that you know is going to be here and is not going to Hollywood, be on top for a while, because he's going to build everybody up.
And they had talent that they could have also been building up too. Like that would have been a great time for Eddie to be built up better. Christian, Edge was starting to rise up too, but they didn't really pull the trigger on him until years later.
Right. They still had a lot of faith in Edge because they did put him with Hogan in 2002. That was a weird but fun kind of run.
Yeah, Edge got to live his dream, and then you got to see him at WrestleMania 6 and all that. That was pretty cool. That Hogan run was fun. I enjoyed the 2005 stuff, the 2002. I enjoyed it personally. I thought it was some of his better stuff, the more easily watchable.
Even that 2002 return was fun, and it also I think was a nice little chance for adult Dan because he had expendable income at that time to experience a little Hulkamania in his life. Like I was born in 83, but at the same time, I was like an infant during the heyday of Hulkamania. So it's like I didn't get to experience, like, I couldn't go to WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, or 4 because I was aged at that point. Like, every WrestleMania by the age, that's how I know my age. It's like, oh, I'm 41 because it's for, So
my first experience with Hogan was when I was watching Rocky 3. And he was Thunder Lips, and I was like, "What the hell? Who is this man?"
My first experience was the feud with Slaughter, kind of, but I started to get into it like late '90s, so it was like Earthquake, and then it went into Slaughter. Yeah, it's weird because my first WWF champion when I got into it was Warrior. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess I can go all up from here.
That's unfortunate.
Well, I thought we were talking about going up, and we are talking about this in this segment about Bill Goldberg.
I know, right?
It's only fair to go from Bill Goldberg to Ultimate Warrior,
You're not wrong. But in the similar vein of talking about Goldberg, though, I alluded to this earlier with the counter programming. So Saturday Night Main Event is the same night as All In. So Peculiar Pete writes, it honestly, should be a crime if you choose to watch Gunther versus Goldberg over Okada versus Omega. I'm sure the E-Drones will be in the comments crapping all over the biggest match in AEW history so far. Listen, all I'm going to say is this, I'm going to watch Saturday Night Main Event because it's free!
Hear me out. Okay. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it once. Okay.
Brother, you can say it twice. It's okay.
If you choose to watch Gunther versus Goldberg over Okada versus Omega, you are a fucking idiot. It's simple as that. I hate Peculiar Pete. My least favorite admin. All right. But he's right here. Like, this is just, I get your point. Saturday night's main event's free as opposed to $50 for an AEW pay-per-view. Just find a way. Sail the seas, if you know what I'm saying. There's no world where you should be like, oh, I can't wait for Goldberg and Gunther while Omega and Okada is happening.
I hate to break it to you.
Oh, come on.
I hate to break it to you. But most bars on that Saturday night are going to be
have this
watching
on, yeah.
Saturday night's main event.
No, not true, because I'm going to be personally driving to every bar in the United States of America to ensure that they have All In Texas on. I'm not.
Please
letting
let us
this
know your
happen.
findings then, because
Everybody,
Dan's right. It's free. Like I said, they'll
This is a
put it on because
shame.
it's free.
This is a
everybody
shame.
needs to scale down their expectations for Omega and Okada. This is 8 years later.
It
This
doesn't
is
matter.
not-
It's not. I'm not saying this is going to be as good as their New Japan stuff. That style is in a league of its own. We're going to get something very different. But I'm like, this is still going to be a million times better than anything that we can get on a Saturday night's main event on NBC.
We're
I
going to
think
get something different, but the problem is that the people that don't want that are going to complain hard and say that this is going to be the worst. One of the, it's just a letdown. Like guys like us, we're probably not going to be let down by it.
Just wait until
But
they got that crowd going nuts. The crowd's going to be crying and jumping. They're going to be throwing up all over the place. Kenny's going to hit 40 V triggers. Okada's brain's going to be mush. And Kenny's finally going to get his win. I think that they need to go all in. This match, they need to like realize, yes, we have a lot to do, and it's 8 years past the point. But we have potential to just make sure that everybody knows that we're going as hard as we possibly can. And this should be the time where Okada kicks out of the one-winged angel. I think that's the only way that this match can reach that point to where people are like, wow, this is special.
Do you close the show with this?
I would.
I would.
I think it's the match with the most history and the most intrigue. As good as like Mercedes and Tony is one of their biggest women's matches ever. And Mox and Adam Page is also very huge. They're in a predicament, and this is a good predicament to be in. They have 3 huge matches that are stacked, and they have to make a hard decision. But I'm going Okada and Omega.
I mean, it's also winner take all. So I mean, it has a solid chance, to be the main event.
I would go Okada Omega if on a few things and how I would preface this. If Mercedes Moné is going to beat Tony Storm, that should not main event.
She better not. I don't want that.
It also shouldn't happen. Yeah.
If Jon Moxley beats Hangman,
also should not happen.
He should not main event.
Agreed.
Because you cannot have either one of those close the show and have the entire audience booing you out of the fucking building.
I think it's a toss up between Omega and Okada and Mox and Page, mainly because Tony Khan hates the women. But I think
he hates the women, yet he's paying Mercedes Moné so much money.
I mean,
and now she's champion in CMLL, for Christ's sake.
Her and Tony are like truly the only true big featured women stars they've been doing anything with. All the other people are losers for everybody, and they don't really build anything except heat.
Well, I mean, and they have all this talent too. Like Perazo should be in WWE, for Christ's sake. I feel bad that she's just been rotting away for the last year and a half.
There's a big rumor that Britt Baker is going to make the jump, but I don't know if I really believe it, honestly.
Well, they're like WWE's doing exactly what AEW was criticized for, and they're not getting called out for it. It's kind of ridiculous. And then these people, they go to NXT and they get used for a few weeks, and then little sideline for a little bit, then they come back and they're not doing shit because nobody cares about NXT.
Ethan Page.
Yeah, I would make the argument for Ethan Page, to a lesser extent Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks is getting called to the main roster.
Him and Ethan Page are possibly getting called up. And so if they lose Saints and Page, the only person they have that's really popular is Javon Evans, Oba.
I think you can make a case for some of them.
The women's are good, like Jordan Grace, despite her awful new theme. I think Jordan Grace is really good. I've been a fan of hers for a while.
Don't count out the fact too they just brought Mariah May in, who they think, or whatever the hell her name is now.
Blake Monroe.
I mean, they're already slating her to take the title.
Yeah, and I don't like the name change, but it'll grow on me. I didn't like Braun Breaker at first. Here we are.
Yes,
but she's where she belongs. She was meant to be there. If you're standing for Roman Reigns in 2019, that's your company. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, 2019. It's funny because you brought up that article earlier about how we're in the worst time of wrestling, and then Mac brought up like the mid 90s, and I was just like 93, 94, 95, and I was just like, yeah, 2019 was pretty goddamn bad for WWE.
It was awful.
I think somebody actually made a comment about that on that post too. Like 2019, I think was worse, and I was like,
2019 really is one of the worst years in like WWE history for sure.
So bad.
People want to say the pandemic, but they had some really good creative stuff on those shows.
They tried. I give them an A for effort that year.
That Orton and McIntyre feud was great.
It was. Yeah. It was. They tried so much.
Like Ricochet and John Morrison were getting moments, but that Orton and McIntyre feud, one of the greatest things to come out of the pandemic era was when Randy Orton put on the night vision goggles and took out all the legends. That was one of the most sinister things he's ever done.
Also chase half those guys to AEW.
Yeah, if you got punted, you're going to Guantanamo Bay. It's crazy.
It's like Christian AEW. It's like that was pretty much, if you dealt with Randy, even like Mark Henry on the scooter, he left for AEW after that. It was like there was so many things that he did.
There's so many people I supported going to AEW, like Christian.
Yeah, I'm glad he went there. Good. He did well for himself there. I mean, some did, honestly. But like
Cope really didn't make any sense.
It's made nothing but
Cope was all Christian though. He just wanted to work with Christian again.
But they haven't even done much together.
Yeah, they had one feud and that was it. I know.
And supposedly he was trying to get him for he was trying to get that reunion for FTR at All In, but he can't pull it off because Christian doesn't want to change his character yet. So
he shouldn't. If I'm Christian, I'm standing my ground, especially against fucking Copeland, because Copeland is, always gotten what he wants in the entire span of their careers. And if I'm Christian, I'm like, no, you're waiting for me. I'm the act now. I'm the top person.
And he is.
And then Cope's going to go back to WWE, and we'll have like him and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania or something.
Yeah, Cope will go back to WWE, and he'll be like, I'm back home. Even though I cut that promo talking about the negativity, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, like, oh, God. One of the most tone-deaf promos in the history of the industry. You have him go out after CM Punk pretty much just destroys your company verbally with Ariel Helwani. Everybody's talking about it. And you're going to have Cope go out there and give the rah-rah speech. It's like, how about you send Moxley? How about you send the locker room leader? The guy who's been here since like day one or like close to day one instead of Cope, who you just signed here like 6 months ago. Like,
yeah, it was definitely a ridiculous moment. That was when AEW was kind of on that decline. But
that just spoke to me, just the dysfunction that the company was in. And it's like, I want them to get out of it. I want them to. I feel like that they have in some ways, but I feel like that has done, it did such damage to the brand and the product, because I feel like that there's a lot of people that were watching AEW at that point. They chased away and they're never going to come back. Like, they are gone. You're never going to get them back on your side again.
Yeah. But I mean, lately, especially, I don't know, on the page, I've even been bragging and boasting about how great they've been for the past few months. Instead of bringing in random people all the time and shuffling through the indie scene, they're actually focusing on their talent and these new young guys that they're actually putting on the show every week, like Kevin Knight and Speedball, even though Speedball's been around for a while. I think they have a really good roster.
I'm trying to get the Speedball is one of those people. I'm just like, okay, like it's one. I'm trying to wrap my head around the gimmick and just everything, and I'm like,
I think it's unique. I mean, you could look at it.
Okay,
you could look at it through different ways. You could look at him as like a Karate Kid. You could look at it as like a callback to Ricky Steamboat. But like at the end of the day, when the bell rings, he puts that gimmick to work. I mean, he has some insane kicks and strikes and moves in general that really make you go, holy shit. I think that in this generation where everything's about who can springboard the highest or who can spike their head on the ground the hardest, seeing someone like Mike Bailey truly like come in and do something different is nice. Character wise, I think that he needs to tone it down a little bit more instead of going for the over the top anime style with his words and speech. Try and be more human.
I mean, you can get away with it. You can get away with it with that audience, right?
But like even that, like when he was doing the whole Kenny Omega thing and he grabbed the mic and he's like, Kenny Omega. And Omega was like, yeah. Like that made him look like a joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't do anything for you except make you look stupid. And I hate saying that because I'm one of Speedball's probably biggest supporters around. I've been watching the guy since 2015 in PWG. And it's really great to see him on a big promotion like AEW. I'm not going to lie. I would have preferred him in NXT. I really would have. But I think he'll do fine.
It's that equivalent to Triple H with Kofi Kingston. Hey, didn't you have an accent?
Yeah. Oh, thank God Kofi wasn't fired after that. Oh my gosh.
No. Like
that was an awful period of time where like that one mess up could have really screwed you over.
Yeah, especially to like Vince never lost confidence in him, which is a good thing because usually with a screw up like that, Vince will just be like, he's banished.
Like poor Mr. Kennedy. Poor Mr. Kennedy. What do you mean? Just because he hurts Randy Orton on accident?
Well, there was several things leading up to that there were problems.
Yeah.
You know, like there wasn't just that kind of, even though he looks at it, he's just like, yeah, I probably should have got released.
I mean, I know he failed the wellness program as well. I think it was the 06 one or 07.
07. That was right after Benoit. And when he went on that, I don't take steroid. He went on Fox News and was very passionate about like he was clean. He wasn't taking steroids. And then like right after he gets popped and we're like, all right, well, here goes your push. Then he started getting hurt at like the worst possible times because he lost the first Money in the Bank because they thought he tore his triceps off his arm. And it turned out not being so bad, but he lost the briefcase to Edge. So like there's all this little things that just kept kind of hurting him in the long run. And then it's just, he never got any of it back. There was always some stumbling block.
2007 in general was not a great year for the WWE.
I would have, there was that whole Benoit thing just put a damper on the whole year.
Yeah, there were the matches. I think the top 3 matches were probably Cena versus Umaga at the Rumble, Cena versus Shawn at Raw, and
Batista and Taker at Mania 23.
Yep. Otherwise, I mean, besides Taker and Batista's like matches, I mean, the Cena and Orton feud was good, but their matches were always very meh.
The Rumble is really good.
Yeah, the 2007 is one of my favorites. Yeah. I think the Shawn and Taker ending is really good.
One of my favorites ever.
Yeah, I'm glad they tried to redo that with Gunther and Cody, and I thought it was good.
The match within a match, I'm always a fan of.
That's wrestling.
Yes. All right, what do we got next?
It's funny you were bringing up Mr. Kennedy and the Money in the Bank because the next one is by Uncle Evan. Kennedy! The next one is Uncle Evan talking about that Seth should hold the briefcase until WrestleMania 42 and attempt another Mania heist. This time, instead of a successful win for the title, you have Roman or whoever else is in the match, destroy him for his attempt, causing an unsuccessful cash-in, and bring the original Mania heist full circle by having Roman be the one to stop him. What do you guys think about that idea?
Ooh, sounds like another waste of a Money in the Bank briefcase because Triple H doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
I am so glad you agree with us about that.
Because they wasted it. They wasted it with Drew. They wasted it with Theory. That was a while ago. And I just think it's going to be another waste this year. All to set up Roman to come back for that one moment, and then he's going to cut a promo via satellite for 2 weeks and then we got to wait 2 months for the big match between Seth and Roman. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's lazy.
I am not a fan of established talent who have been world champion within the last 18 to 24 months winning the Money in the Bank. I think it is a waste of the gimmick. It is supposed to bring somebody up or kind of resurgence somebody. Like if Alexa Bliss winning it or Naomi winning it on the women's side makes complete sense because I feel like both of them winning it, they needed the boost. Seth Rollins didn't need this. He didn't need it at all. And the only one that on the men's side I could have really needed it was LA Knight.
Hell yeah.
And the fact that he didn't win it for the third year in a row, it's like, whose Cheerios does this guy piss in? Where it's like every time that he should be getting like a world title push, it's either they keep him on the mid card or they just completely forget about him to get somebody else over.
He's too nice of a guy backstage. He doesn't know how to politic like Cody and the others. So it's really it's a shame.
Cody.
I like Cody. Okay, he has a gift for what he does. Okay, he's a great worker. He's great on the mic, and he's good at politic. He always has been. That's fine. It's a good skill to have in pro wrestling. And it sucks that LA Knight just can't stick up for himself and be like, hey, start showing me some damn respect.
Bailey's in the same boat too.
Bailey, I believe, should leave. I think Bailey should try and get a resurgence, kind of like Mercedes. I think a Mercedes versus Bailey match in AEW or anywhere would be awesome to see.
I don't think her leaving would be wise because I honestly think that, number one, it would cause a couple of problems. One, she's seen as a locker room leader for the women. And number two, I think that there would be a really massive outcry from the fan base because I think she is beloved by the fans to a higher extent than any of the other four horsewomen.
Yeah, which is why she should be, she should be given a lot more, respected a lot more.
She should be given a lot more respect. And
have Charlotte, have Daddy's girl be the locker room leader for a little bit. See how she likes it.
Oh God.
The whole fucking company will quit.
It'll be just like when Hogan did it, brother.
I mean,
that doesn't work for me.
Hogan was never the locker room leader
because I'm not booked.
Like Hogan was never locker room leader. I think that
Hogan assumed the role and just fucking did what he wanted to, and people were just like, okay.
Well, he could when he was the thing is that even when he was on top, Andre was still around. Andre was still the locker room leader.
That's actually what I was thinking too.
And it's the same thing with like when Hogan, probably when Andre left, he may have been like leader for a little bit, but then I don't even know because that's 90 and 91, that area. And then Taker probably took over in like 92, 93, and then held on to that spot for so long. But also at the same time, it's not a locker room really anymore either, in the sense of everybody has buses. They just go to their bus now. They're just like, I don't need to talk to you.
And it's sad to see, like hearing Cody Rhodes go on his tour bus and, he's the top of the company. Like, nobody's back there to, give these young guys any, words of wisdom.
I think though that they're probably more accessible now than they have been in the past. Of when you're in that top spot, a lot of people don't go to you anyways because they know that you're the spot that you're in, and you're not going to be as accessible because number one, you're busy because you're always locked in doing press or have some type of interview or whatnot you're doing.
It's also doing the podcast on the bus too. So
on that, but then also too, what people need to realize is that a lot of the top guys don't want to talk with anybody because they want to hold on to that spot. They want to there's a lot of money involved, and there's a lot of money in the sense of top of the card, but also too with your merchandise money, because with Fanatics, I'm sure their money is those merch checks now are probably the heaviest they've ever been. Because Vince McMahon is not controlling the money. Now it's some little conglomerate. Those checks are probably a lot bigger because the distribution too is probably also more massive, and everything's done in house. I like Fanatics and I hate them at the same time because their jerseys suck that they do in house. But at the same time, I do like what they have done with the collector market as far as authentication and autographs. I feel like they are somewhat good for the business because in the 80s and 90s, a lot of things went unchecked. There's a lot of the stuff out there that turned out to be fake and false. But I feel like if you're buying it from Fanatics, you're spending the money, but at the same time, they are treating you and you know it's going to be legitimate, certified, and all that great stuff. But you wonder in the end how it's going to play out in general with Seth Rollins with this briefcase to get everything kind of back in the end. I personally think him having the briefcase doesn't make any sense because of he's already in this faction that he's going to get the championship regardless. He doesn't need this briefcase to hold on to it, not being able to get anybody else over. That's the constant thing I hear. Besides, there's only a few guys on top. There's nobody else that's coming up. There's nobody else in the pipeline. There's nobody else. It's a constant thing that I hear. Then you have Chad Gable beating AJ Styles and CM Punk one week, and everybody gets pissed.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not Chad Gable. But you have...
Sir, that was El Grande Americano.
You have El Grande Americano defeating AJ Styles and CM Punk to get in the Money in the Bank match, and there's an outcry online.
Ooh,
So, why is this? But then you have this is coming from the same people that are mad that El Grande's good friend, Chad Gable, doesn't get a push. They're mad about that. So it's like, it's a catch-22 because it's like we want to be able to have talent get over the hump and be able to become main eventers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're all afraid to let go of the current crop of talent. Hence with R-Truth, Seth Rollins, and what have you.
You'd think with Triple H and not having any original ideas, he'd look at Chad Gable and be like,
Oh, Jesus.
let's just repackage Kurt Angle. That would work. They didn't do that. There was a big time where he could have been the guy to dethrone Gunther for the IC title. You could easily book and build Chad Gable as the guy to be a world title contender. And then they give him this throwaway gimmick. And he's meant for more as Gable. I think the El Grande thing has ran its course. I wish that he would be unmasked already. But I don't know. The fickle fans seem to love that entertainment BS. It's just not for me. That crap.
Fickle thing.
It's true. They're
true.
sitting over there bouncing their arms up and down for Yeet Man Uso, but then the bell rings and he gives shitters every single time. Every time. And then CM Punk comes out there and they're cheering and they're like, oh yeah, we're so glad CM Punk is back. But like, this is not CM Punk. This is some corporate BS spewing, oh, I love the fans. I love this and that. No, this is the CM Punk that we loved in WWE. This is John Cena Punk.
Diet CM Punk.
PG Punk is
PG Punk, exactly. Yeah. And because Punk in AEW was fun. It just wasn't going to work out, and that sucks. But
can't blame him entirely for that.
And then people like LA Knight come in and they have a great promo game, and then people are just like, oh, he's just ripping off The Rock and Stone Cold. Like, okay, he's ripping off two legends and ripping off two of the greatest of all time and making it work in his own way. And then when they're like, oh, he's not that good in the ring, he adds like 15 new moves to his arsenal that gets the crowd going crazy.
He's a better worker than Jey Uso.
by a mile.
Leaps and bounds.
That's not saying much, I feel like.
He's a guy who not deserves, but he's earned the right at being a world champion. I mean, he did great with the U.S. title. He did so good that when you dropped it to Shinsuke, you had to give it back to him. Like, he's proven to be that guy, and you just can't give him a chance with the big title, but you can give it to Jey Uso.
Had a great match with Jacob Fatu at well, that was a multi-person, but he had a great match with Jacob Fatu at Mania too.
Yeah.
Well, we actually do have a LA Knight post coming up, so
oh, good. Finally,
we can kind of bottle this. I feel like a little bit. I want to jump to the next one though. It's not as wrestling related, but still, I thought it was funny. So we got the trailer this week for Naked Gun. Out August 1st, and we saw the first glimpse in the trailer of Cody Rhodes. We obviously don't know how long it's going to be on screen or anything like that, but, pretty cool, I guess. Stone Cold Oh No writes, Cody Rhodes is in the newest trailer for the movie out August 1st, as I said. He thinks the movie is going to be great. If it goes well, then I could see Cody becoming the next wrestler to leave for Hollywood. Will you be watching? Yes, I will watch the new Naked Gun movie. However, I don't think Cody's going to Hollywood right away. We don't know anything about this cameo yet. Let's slow your roll.
I think it's going to be a minute of him being like, hey, what do you want? And he's going to say something stupid to him and get his head smashed in. Simple.
Yep, that's exactly what I think.
And that's fine. Not everybody has to try and be like Roman, who gets shitty Hollywood roles and doesn't get called back.
I don't know. He's been up for that new Street Fighter film. He's going to be in that Keanu Reeves movie coming out.
Yeah, I mean, those like video game IPs, they always do so good. You remember the Need for Speed movie back in the day?
Well,
S tier,
I mean,
right?
the Super Mario Brothers movie has done well. The Sonic movies, that.
Whoa, but hold on a second. You say that the new Super Mario did well.
Yes.
First one, the live action one, did not.
Walton Goggins is supposedly up for M. Bison for the new Street Fighter movie. And I honestly feel like that's going to be, that is a start of maybe it's going to be better than what we dealt with the original, even though Raul Julia was fantastic as M. Bison.
And you might be right, and sure, I hope the best. But so Roman's built like a Hollywood actor, but he has the acting chops of a Nokia ringtone. I just don't think he offers anything special to the Hollywood world.
You could say the same thing about his cousin.
I think The Rock started really good, like Walking Tall and The Scorpion King was awesome. And then he got that Disney money and realized that he doesn't need to be good.
Well, he did redeem himself with the Fast movies, the Fast and Furious movies, sequels. And
Let's see which one? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The one they went in the space, right?
Not that one.
No,
I'm not bringing that. I don't think he was in that one.
Are they doing Are they doing a crossover with Transformers next or what?
Oh, God, they should. It would make sense.
It would.
Even though that series probably should have fucked off when Paul Walker died, because it's really, we really need to do this because he's dead. Do we need to keep making more? And then when I found out they went to space, it wasn't like some futuristic car. It's like they put rockets on Honda Civics. Where you're sitting there, you're like, what the fuck is this?
That's even worse, though.
It is. It makes it even worse because it's you're working with the government, aren't you? You can't just come up with fucking rocket cars on your own that they got tested. No, you're just going to put rockets on Honda Civics. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus, at least try a little bit here.
At least it's original.
How do you feel about this John Cena farewell tour, Manny?
I thought the moment of him turning was awesome. I felt it was something that could have been a true shift in the era of WWE. I feel like they could have built a new version of the NWO in terms of hype and just overall merch selling and getting that audience, going crazy for you. But everything afterwards has been complete ass. I think
lazy.
I think the CM Punk promos have been good, but I expected that. I think Punk just brings the best out of Cena, and Cena does the same with Punk. But it just feels so too much. He feels like he's acting, And I don't like that. Like, I get that that's what wrestlers do, but we're not supposed to tell. Like, we're not supposed to know it's fake. You know that, right? Like, you're supposed you're supposed to make us believe this shit. But you're coming out here like, I hate you people. I'm gonna ruin this great business of yours. I'm the last real champion. It's like all these stupid like catchphrases that he wants to get trending or something.
It's like
Feels forced.
It does. It's
100%.
it's like Mercedes Monet is a baby face. I don't believe it. Like I can't get behind it. I don't believe it. This isn't genuine. She's a terrible baby face promo, but he's a terrible heel promo. Because it's like, about the 700 make-a-wishes this guy's done. You know about how much money that he's given to charity and philanthropy. But now all of a sudden it's like, I'm supposed to believe that after 15 years of being this clean as cut baby face, or 20 years, excuse me, 20 years after being this clean cut baby face, that I'm supposed to just believe all of a sudden that it's like, oh, I'm on the dark side.
No, and they could have used that. They could have used that Make-A-Wish stuff to even elevate this heel crap because
they've done nothing.
Like, the reasoning for turning heel makes sense in a way, but like the way he gets it out never does. Like it's as everything feels forced, as you said, and it's like, if he wants to ruin wrestling, he should want to ruin the WWE. So he should like go out there and be like, "Fuck your kids." And they're like, "Oh, we didn't have time to censor that. Oops." Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're genuinely like a scumbag who is doing everything in their power to make the product bad for the company, but like you want people to still watch at home. And like Cena could have easily been like a really cool heel, but they did nothing. And they like tried to force Travis Scott into the wrestling world, and it made me hate everything about it. But this is the product that people will stick up for and they will defend with their life. And I do not understand it. But thankfully, we get some real graps when we get Omega Okada at All in Texas.
I think it's on both sides.
I don't think it's close now. I think before you could argue that like AEW had a lot of problems and they still aren't perfect. I'm not saying they are. But when I'm watching Dynamite compared to Raw and SmackDown, I feel like a fan when I watch AEW. I feel like a consumer when I watch WWE.
That's actually very fair,
really great analogy. Yeah,
analogy, very fair, and that's a great point.
And I'm not. I don't want to be the typical fan who bitches about the ads. I watch New Japan.
You're not.
I watch WCW. I'm okay with like stuff on the ring mat, but when you're like, oh, we have it on the ladder, we have it here. Next is going to be on their entrance attires and
the
title
tables
belts.
and the ladder was gratuitous. I agree.
And now it's like, okay, cool. We have the ads on the clothes, which means you have plenty of money to stop this overusage of commercials. But you don't. It gets worse and worse. Like that Chad Gable AJ Styles match on Raw, there was like 5 commercial breaks during that 15-minute match.
If they want to have all the advertisements, fine, but then I want the ticket prices to be lowered.
For real.
Yeah.
Like Raw was in Green Bay and I almost went, but for like nosebleed seats, it was $200 a pop. I'm not paying $200 for Raw tickets. And what did I miss? I missed Goldberg. Oh, oops, my bad. Goldberg's best promo is just him breathing heavily. I'm good. I don't need to see Goldberg.
My favorite, my brother Billy and Mac knows him well. Hoorah! We were having a conversation recently, and he was just talking about. He's just like, I miss going to shows when Vince was there, when Vince was in charge, because we could actually get seats like reasonably priced. I'm like, yeah, I said, because fucking half the building was full. Like, that's why we could get tickets cheap, because no one was going because the product was shit. Like, that's even the product now. I mean, it's better than what it was under Vince the last couple of years that Vince was in charge. Yes, it's better, but it's not like, it's not what it was a year ago. It's not what it was 2 years ago.
No, and it's crazy for me to look at, like, so I went to the Rampage when CM Punk came back in Chicago. I paid $7 for my ticket.
Oh, the one at the United Center?
Yeah. I paid $7 for one of the greatest wrestling moments of all time. So you know how hard it is for me to justify spending like $100+ on a weekly episode of like SmackDown or Raw. I just can't do it. Like I know I'm not going to get anything close to that, especially nowadays. Nowadays they only save the big shit for pay-per-views or PLEs. My bad.
Well,
That was
Raw at this point because Raw's on Netflix, so they'll do it for that too. But
Is that probably
That's
the
it.
most historic show you've been to? You think?
100%. Yeah. I went to WrestleMania 32, and I still think that
Oh, I'm sorry.
that Rampage show,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
the Rampage show was. I left after Punk said his stuff too, but like, I've never experienced anything like that. I don't think I ever will again. I mean, 15 minutes prior to the show starting, the building was shaking, and I was like, if they don't give us CM Punk, like this is going to be a bad night for the company. Like nobody will ever watch this shit again.
He sold the building out at a rumor.
Oh. And when he came out, dude, just shaking and everything was so insane. And I'm like, it just didn't stop. And then to hear him talk and then like seeing Darby and Sting, truly an all-time great moment. I'll always be appreciative for AEW for being able to give me that as a fan.
Was that the do you think that was the high point for them? Like that was the
Yes, I think it's hard not to say that's the high point when it's like looked at as one of the greatest returns in wrestling history.
Oh, without question.
So it's like you have Punk come back, you have him do a good program with Darby. He's wrestling like every week on Rampage, and then he has the great feud with Eddie Kingston and MJF. You know, it was a great time for AEW, and it sucks that like they chose the wrong people to back. Like I really think that the whole situation with Punk and the Bucks and Omega was so unnecessary. And I think that there should have been a moderator around to make sure that egos didn't get too high. It was just wild altogether. And then them showing footage of Punk choking out Jack Perry. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? Why are we burying your biggest draw?
how about the Bucks doing the lap, the victory laps in the ring and the half empty? I was like, oh god, guys, this is not good.
So
you don't want to be doing that.
The Bucks, that stuff doesn't surprise me. Like them doing the victory lap thing, the little small stuff, that's always been them. They've always been the most edgy tag team ever. They don't care. The showing the footage surprised me because that's an executive decision. Like that's like Tony Khan being like, no, you want to talk your shit? We're going to show you what you did.
We have a Young Bucks post that we saved.
Probably.
I think there's one that got put out that actually we should probably do because there was one that was somebody was talking about that they were talking about them as a top 5 or top 10 tag team of all time. Which
having watched most of the Young Bucks career, it's man, it's very hard for me to like not say how great they are because in their like the PWG time, they were doing some crazy stuff, like amazing matches. And I thought that the gimmick of killing the business was very fun. I thought that it was very unique, not really been done before. And the whole BTE stuff really helped them. And then building AEW, it wasn't till the brawl out situation that I was like, man, maybe it's not just a gimmick with these fuckers. Like, maybe they're all awful people.
Because I want to like them. I want to.
They're just so good. They're athletic as hell.
That's the thing. Like I think, and plus too, it's like for what they were able to get Hot Topic when no one in wrestling was able to do anything cool. Like, and because Hot Topic at that point was still kind of cool and still kind of had that edge look to it. But also it's like it's in every mall. Like they're a massive retailer, and their T-shirts are in Hot Topic. Like that was a big deal.
Massive deal. I was when they first announced it, I got like one of the Bullet Club shirts pre-ordered. It was like a Kenny Omega special one. Because but Cody Rhodes claimed recently that they didn't start making money until he joined. So,
I mean, it's tough to. Well,
it's not tough because the Bullet Club was with Kenny and AJ at the helm, they were getting booked New Japan, ROH, PWG. They were the top acts and the Hot Topic. They were making so much money
Yeah.
for like, and they had like Marty Skrull and Flip Gordon and all that shit in there. Bullet Club was a money printing machine before Cody, and then Cody came and just added pizzazz. I don't think Cody was a great Bullet Club leader, but he just added market value a little bit extra.
He added the market value, and also too, it was like the name value. It's like, ooh, because he still got the Rhodes name, so it was just like, you know. And then he had the idea of the American Nightmare instead of the American Dream. Magic. There you go. You're printing money now. But no, that is kind of revisionist history of him being like, well, we didn't start making money until I joined them. It's like, no. I mean,
and it's crazy because like it's revisionist history to a lot because New Japan was paying really good back then.
They were, yes.
Like people were saying like, you work for New Japan, you're not getting shit. Nowadays, yeah, they can't afford it. But back then, you're getting paid top good money. Not like John Cena, but you're getting good money.
You're getting good money.
And that's not including your merch and all that. Like, I would have loved to be a Japan guy back then. Shit.
Well, yeah, because Pro Wrestling Tees was just starting out. They were now they were giving a lot of independent talent now a chance and an outlet to be like, oh, I can get my own shirts and they'll just produce them. You know, Kenny even had mentioned before, like, how much money his merch check was after the first Okada match from Pro Wrestling Tees. He was just like, I could buy a house. Like, it shows you the power too that New Japan had at that point. I'm talking like 2017, 2018 era of just the scope of everything they had, because a lot more people were watching New Japan than probably people realize that actually worked.
Yeah,
a lot more people were.
The WWE fan base was just dwindling down because a lot of like that big boom that happened in 2016 with New Japan and all that really came from people who just left WWE. And that kind of, then WWE was like, okay, we're going to bring in AJ Styles. And then that got people back. And then we got like a really weird crowd from 2016 and 2017, like a very indie based crowd. Like you get the 1, 2, and they do sweet and all that crap. And it's like all the like really good wrestlers were getting like cheered and over. And then like people like Roman were just like, no, we don't want to see you. We're good.
Yeah, it was
Vince didn't capitalize. He should have capitalized on it, and it sucks.
He did with AJ. You got to give him credit because he gave AJ a lot, like an over a year run with the title. Which
AJ had a
who would have thought that?
AJ's had a great WWE career. I'll give him that, but he is one of the most lackluster WrestleMania performers, considering his name.
Fair assessment.
Because his best match at WrestleMania for me is against Shane McMahon, and that's his first one. Like his matches are big, but they don't hit like the match with Shinsuke. That Vince should have just been like, you know what? Just go out there, 20 minutes, do your thing. Same with like Edge. Edge and AJ should have been much better. AJ and Logan Paul wasn't as good as it could have been. And
I don't understand if he gets in his own head or it's
me
just...
personally, I'm not going to blame Styles. It's hard for me too. I mean, he's one of the, I can't say enough good things about AJ Styles.
No, I can't either.
Like that, his TNA run in 2005 to 2009 is very, very special to me as a fan. I mean, it's one of my favorites of all time. I mean, he had a good character, but like his main aspect was just like, hey, I'm going to go out there and be the greatest wrestler you've ever seen. And you can't stop me.
And he did it every single week.
Every single week. And TNA was like, so we're going to use that and we're actually going to give you like titles. And we're going to make the X Division title main event shows. And it's like, this is good. Like TNA and Ring of Honor were like really good stuff. And then WWE was about to pick up momentum and the Chris Benoit thing happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, and then 4 years after, it's just like, hey, can you take less money? No. Oh, well,
I can't believe they would do that.
I know.
Oh my gosh, Dixie
I
Carter,
know.
what a person.
What a company they are.
Yep.
Like, what a company they were when she was running it. It's just like, really?
We're not going to pay you money, but we're going to give Magnus the world title, and then we're going to probably give it back to Bully Ray. So we're good, right? I would have taken Magnus's and Bully Ray's contract, cut them up, and gave it to AJ, and been like, okay, so we're going to make you the top guy again, and we're just going to.
Oh, come on. You didn't like Bully Ray? I thought he was over.
Yeah, dude.
Wasn't that annoying? Over.
I don't know. I didn't hate Bully Ray. I thought he did good, but man, it's just his character was it. Like he had a good character, but like his matches weren't anything. You'd just be waiting for him to hit somebody with a hammer.
That was it. Like we were just waiting for the hammer shot. It was like he became Triple H in TNA. It's like except without the sledgehammer. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like they looked at AJ and they're like, we think that you've given us the best you have. And then he goes to Japan and does insane work.
Even better.
Oh my gosh. And they're like, if I'm Dixie, that's got to be the biggest regret I have.
Like, I don't even
seriously.
There's probably 100 other regrets she probably has.
Probably. And none of them are wrestling related because she doesn't give a fuck about the business.
I regret nothing about my wrestling, but you should. I mean, you should.
Probably regret. I don't know.
You should regret some things. But
probably regrets Botox from 3 years ago. Or
I don't want to bash her too much.
No, that was not a confirmed report that Dixie Carter has Botox. It was a joke.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We got to throw allegedly out there.
Because I'm not booked.
Yes. I don't know that for real. It's allegedly. We have to abide by the allegedly standard of not trying to end up in lawsuits.
Because I'm not booked.
Exactly. I'm not booked. I don't want certain people coming to me and being like, you let that slip. Oh, well, hey. Allegedly,
Cornbread! Cornbread!
Do we have anything standing out left as far as articles are concerned that we wanted to get in this week?
Yeah, I think we should do one more from Manny himself.
All right.
Of course.
I pulled this one because I feel it's very interesting to talk about the variances between the shows, but you wrote AEW continues to outshine WWE every week with most put together weekly shows. Okay. Raw and SmackDown seem like a chore. Takes forever to sit through the average episode, while AEW, everything flows so nicely you don't even feel time. WWE will always be number one for the kiddos and parents, so there is that at least for you all. Have a bad day.
And I meant it. I mean, I stand on business. I mean, this is going to go back to what I said before. I watch AEW, I feel like a fan. I watch WWE, I feel like a consumer. And that's what Raw and SmackDown has been. It's just been advertisement after advertisement, rematch after rematch, no true story development whatsoever. And then in AEW, we get some cool young guys being pushed. I mean, Ricochet turned heel and like he's getting great reactions with the whole bald crap. John Moxley's reign went from being one of the worst to actually pretty good fundamentally. You got Hangman Page as a great chaser. Will Ospreay putting on great TV matches every week. The list goes on for AEW. Meanwhile, WWE, all the big stuff they're doing that all the fans in the arena love, I think is complete crap. I genuinely don't understand how there can be such a huge disconnect from the audience there to online. Because I see online, everybody hates Jey Uso. But you see him in the arenas and it's like, this guy's one of the biggest draws in wrestling. What the hell is going on here? Meanwhile, guys like LA Knight, they just get called a catchphrase as well when it's like, are you watching the matches? Are you guys just not paying attention to the wrestling anymore? Have we just completely steered 100% into entertainment? Like, even during the Chad Gable AJ Styles match, that was a good TV match, but the fans were chanting like, we want truth. Like, what are we doing? Enjoy what you're watching. Be a fan. Stop trying to hijack the show. Stop trying to make it about yourself. That's just why AEW fans will always just be better to me because they actually have brains. I don't know.
I think.
I mean, you were sitting there just
boo.
saying it, Dan. So
You can boo, you can say what you want. But
I
my point is, anybody who is an only WWE fan, somebody who sits there and only watches WWE while there is great content out, and you're like, this is the best product around. How could you say that? You don't know anything else except this. And they're the ones that are constantly flooding everybody and saying like, oh, AEW can't sell out an arena. AEW can't do this. Oh, WWE. Oh, I mean, Jey Uso is the guy. You see the reaction he gets? I mean, he's holding people's kids. The Yeet thing is so cool. I feel like I'm in a parody movie right now. I feel like WWE turned into the scary movies. And now I'm just like going through the motions every week. I don't know. Guess I'm just old man yells at clouds today.
No, it's. I mean, you bring up good points. I'm not going to disagree with you there. You brought up. I think your point about how watching WWE you feel like a consumer, where with AEW watching it you feel like a fan. I think that is a very intelligent argument about WWE versus AEW. It really is, and you simplified it. I disagree, however, on some of the but both fan bases have this. So let me preface it by saying that WWE and AEW also have some of the dumbest fans in the history of the planet as well. Like a lot of the AEW fans, a lot of them are pretty delusional, in my opinion. Just in the sense of that they. The big thing for me is how they know they have to just open their eyes sometimes and look and say, okay, this is obvious, but they always are just like, Tony's just going to buy WWE in 5 years anyways. It's fine. It's like, really? Like,
oh, I'm not going that far.
You know, like there are just things that they do, these hills that they die on that I'm just like, you really need to go that way? Like, really? Like, how are you thinking that? Like, how is that even logical in your head? But again, it's on both sides because WWE fans, I think, are the same way. I think the same way.
I think WWE deserves it.
You're funny.
No,
You're funny.
Seriously. For years, for forever, WWE has been number one, and they've always bragged about being number one. And people always talk about WWE is just going to buy TNA. They're going to buy Ring of Honor. They're going to buy AAA. You know, WWE should just do this. Now it's time for WWE to get a taste of that medicine. Now that there's an actual wrestling company that is on national TV and on a streaming service that is pretty accessible, like, I think they deserve it. Whatever. If they can't handle it, whatever. It's a business. They're number one. They shouldn't even pay attention to it. But it's obviously causing some kind of distress if they're doing counter programming and citing these stars and having them show up immediately before they even have a name for them. Like, to me, that shows like they pay attention, and they pay attention like extensively.
I don't understand a lot of the counter programming. I don't. I think going up, I think you're hurting not only your own product, but you're hurting the others. Because I think fans are looking at it now and this is just like, this is kind of petty, you know, like this is all being kind of petty. And because it's like the metrics are massive. Like they have whatever AEW does, they do between like 500 and 700,000 people a week for Dynamite, and then maybe another on a good week 300,000 to 400,000 for Collision.
I mean, so that WWE has a 40-year advantage over them.
It's not about even that. It's just the fact that like I'm just saying that AEW, in my opinion, is like, okay, they have still a solid foundation, still a solid enough fan base. They have 1 million people still watching them every week. And it's also kind of running unopposed. You have Mondays, you have Tuesdays, you have Fridays. AEW has Wednesday and they have on Saturday nights. And now they're moving Collision around so that way they can accommodate going up against you guys and pay-per-views and Saturday night's main events and all that stuff. So I don't find it fun when because mind you, doing the show, I don't like to do 3 shows a fucking weekend and then have to review them.
Yeah,
because I lose my train of thought easily.
Smoke.
It really is a lot, and wrestling lately has just felt like never ending. But I don't want to sound like I'm strictly an AEW fanboy. AEW does have problems. I think AEW is doing more damage to the independent scene than WWE is right now.
Very fair.
AEW is getting all these
100%
indie guys and stealing all these New Japan people, building them up, and then WWE takes them from AEW. So it's like AEW is making stars. That, like, you can't deny that. Half of these people's presentations that are going to NXT are from the AEW. And like the only reason they got put immediately onto the scene was because of AEW. Like they brought Ricky Saints in, didn't have a name for him, and he was there. Like they didn't have the contract signed, whatever. Did the same with Mariah May. I mean, Ethan Page. I mean, Jade Cargill took a little bit, and that was like the first. Her and Cody were the first 2 big ones.
Well, I would say Jade, because Cody coming back was huge, but he had worked with them in the past. So,
but but the thing also is, it wasn't AEW's presentation because Cody did this way before AEW, but AEW's presentation was what they used.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
So it's like, this is WWE acknowledging that this company can make stars, but the fans want to say that WWE doesn't pay attention to them or that they're nothing. It's just, it hurts my head because it doesn't make sense when you look at everything that is going on. And that's okay. It's okay for WWE to acknowledge it and use these people, because that's great for pro wrestling that there's another company for people to be like, oh, so this is actually a good company if these are WWE worthy people. That's for the casuals, not for like the true fans. I don't know.
I think I did appreciate what Tony Khan a couple of weeks ago going on Twitter and telling people they have to stop gatekeeping, because I think that was something he probably should have done a lot sooner. Because I feel like that he might have been able to get a lot more people in, because I feel like that, and I'm not talking about, again, because I don't feel like you're considered a sicko. You know who I'm talking about. I feel like that you're a fan of AEW in a constructive way, and you'll give me constructive points on why AEW is doing better than WWE, why the talent's better, why the matches are better, and you're not just gonna. And I don't mind coming out and listening to you talk about that, because at least you'll also accept the criticisms and not just come in here blindly and just be like, there's no problems. You'll accept it. And that's a fair, which is a fair discussion, because there are a lot of people out there, I feel like, that just, they don't like to have fair discussions. It's always, and it's on both sides, because I think it's on WWE's point of view and the AEW's point of view as well, of just like, that's the only company that matters to them. And it's like, there's other worlds out there, guys.
Yeah, and I think the Tony Khan situation, I think Tony Khan secretly got some media training in the past year or so, because what he used to say on Twitter and all the social medias was wild, and he had no filter. But now it seems like, he's promoting the shows, and it's like he's asking for feedback, and he's actually listening.
Yes, I feel like, which is a good thing. Once he's starting to listen, I feel like that, which I feel like is starting to kind of show in the product, because
we'll see.
The product is a lot better than what it was a year ago. I will say
Because
that.
if Mox retains at All In, I don't think that's going to be good.
No,
I think
he needs to lose.
they need to realize that Darby's not worth waiting for. He's not. He's not. Like in this time period with Mox as champion, you could get it off of him, put it on Hangman. Hangman can lose it to some other heel that you build up, and then Darby can take it off them in like 3 months' time.
Yeah,
I don't think Hangman needs a long reign.
That's why I say if you're gonna have Omega, if you're gonna have Moxley retain, then you better have Okada and Omega finish, because the end of your pay-per-view is going to be like Hell in a Cell 2019, where people are just going to be like, bullshit.
I do
bullshit.
Worry. The one thing that worries me about Okada and Omega is them adding Don Callis. I don't want this match to have any shenanigans whatsoever.
I feel like that they're just adding Don for promos.
But like, just have Okada cut a promo. Just put fucking subtitles on the screen. Can you not read people?
Maybe it's a double
English.
Switch.
He could speak English.
Well, yeah, it's been obvious.
I really wish I had a Me Not Smart. Yeah, I could do that too. But
I just don't want Don Callis to like toss a screwdriver to Okada when he's in the One Winged Angel, and that's what we get. Because this should be a match that is like they wrestle,
or it's a double turn, and Omega gets Callis again, and Omega turns heel, and Okada becomes face.
I might jump off a bridge. That would be awful. The only thing I could think of worse than that is Swerve turning to cost Hangman against Mox. That's the only thing I can think of worse.
That would be a shotgun blast to any work or goodwill that they've built up the last 6 months.
That means like that amazing feud between Hangman and Swerve that you started and ended, we're starting right back up,
and
that's not good.
No, I do feel like though that Swerve and Hangman for the title would probably be a good way to get things going again.
I think a good one-off, but the program shouldn't be like intense feud. It should be like,
no,
we know each other. We know everything about each other. So yeah.
Well,
it'd be the equivalent of CM Punk attacking Drew McIntyre when he comes back or something.
Who do you think Hangman's first opponent should be if he wins the title? That's a problem now, because
I think it should be a returning Eddie Kingston in a loss.
Interesting.
I don't think Hangman should lose to Kingston.
No,
but I think that getting Eddie back in AEW and having him immediately in the world title picture, and if he loses, it sets him up for pretty much anything. If you want to have him go after the Unified Championship, the TNT title, you have that. But I just don't. I'm trying to think of like any extra heels that could like work with Hangman. I just can't. They're probably going to do like Claudio or Yuta, somebody from Death Riders.
I mean,
I don't know.
I cannot get behind Wheeler Yuta. I cannot.
MJF maybe.
Talk about a guy who's gone downhill like. What are they doing with him in the Hurt Syndicate?
I don't know. MJF's character got stale about a year ago. He never progressed after the Punk feud, and it's unfortunate. He's literally the same heat, the same crap. It's like there's nothing different. The Adam Cole story was good, but they botched the ending.
That was on Cole. That was because of the Cole injury. They booked themselves in a corner they couldn't get out of.
Yeah, I don't think that was on either of them. Got hurt is what it is.
It's snake bit. That's how it ends.
The problem was I felt like that was where he didn't recover. After that, it was like,
They have Adam Cole reveal himself as the devil, and you got like Matt Taven, Roderick Strong, and Wardlow in this group, and it's like
all mid-carders.
Like Wardlow, if you would have pulled the trigger on him properly, that would have been a big deal. Matt Taven, nobody gives a fuck about him.
No.
Nobody cared about Roderick Strong at that point, which is unfortunate because Roderick Strong,
great talent,
very. Yeah, I feel like they should have just put more top stars in it.
I miss Undisputed Era.
Yeah,
I miss Undisputed Era so
that
much.
that whole NXT era in general. I think about it every day. That and 205 Live, man.
The Undisputed Era was like the closest thing to like the Horsemen that WWE will ever have. Of
Yep.
just this group of guys that are just this great tag team that's going to go out there and put on a 5-star classic every night. And then you have a main event performer that literally has no fucking fear and is going to do whatever he can to be the best performer have the best match in the card. That was, and I was just like, this is your next decade. These three guys are going to be mad, and then they're all gone within like 3 years.
Adam Cole should have
just
been like a 3-time WWE champion by now.
Yeah, I should have.
Easily.
I don't even. When I joined the page, Adam Cole was probably my favorite wrestler at the time, and like that was when he was coming out of like Ring of Honor into NXT and out of the Bullet Club, and like the whole Undisputed Era was really cool because I felt like such a smart. Like these are all like fucking indie guys just tearing up WWE right now. Like, it's cool.
I know.
And they just kept it going. And like Adam Cole was like putting on matches you would not see on WWE. And it's like, this is some good shit. And then Vince just had to get his. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that one. I hate
It's
Vince
so
McMahon
depressing.
for that.
It's so depressing to even
It
think
really
about.
is.
Like, because I was there when he beat Gargano for the title in Bridgeport at I think it was Takeover 25, and that building went absolutely insane when he won the title. And
how do you see someone like Johnny Gargano give his performances in NXT and then release him?
Well, he didn't get released. His contract expired.
Okay, well then why don't you renew his contract? Because he obviously didn't want to like go because he came right back.
Because they didn't trust, and I don't blame them because nobody really trusted what Vince was going to do with them because that was around the time that Triple H had his health scare. There was
You're right.
William Regal was gone. You know, like that was a weird time.
You're right.
That was a hostile takeover of NXT, which is, I think, part of the reason why Triple H has such a hard on to hurt AEW because of the fact that it was AEW's inception that killed the original NXT, and him having the heart issue literally almost just destroyed NXT to beyond recognition because Vince went in and tried to make it look like everything else that Vince touched at that point, which was dog shit, and almost killed the whole brand.
That was a really good time too.
It was
when AEW and NXT were going head to head.
And WWE was, and both products I thought were doing great. It's just the fact that AEW was just the new kid in town.
It became too much about fucking numbers. That's the problem with like fans nowadays. They care too much about how much money the companies make. When it's like, why do you care about something you're never going to see? It's obvious they're not using any of this money they earn to update their product. We get the same stage designs every PLE. We get like they're not doing anything with this money that you're bragging about. And the ratings aspect, who cares? Like you're just supposed to be watching as a fan. Why do you have to dig so deep into the metrics to find out ratings when you could be learning more about the wrestlers? Like nobody knows how to be a fan anymore. They just want to know everything. And WWE doesn't help the case when they like pull the curtain back all the way and they're like, hey, we're going to drop this new show for you guys that takes you in the writer's room. Or, you know, hey, just so you guys know, it's fake.
They've completely ruined kayfabe. They've completely ruined kayfabe. Yeah.
It's fake. You guys just enjoy it. Or The Rock being like, oh, yeah, here's the plans for the next 6 months. I hate that bald man. The Rock sucks.
Lately, yes.
He's a cancer to the WWE. He has been since 2014. And I've been over it. Like, he was never needed when they brought him in. And, like, he just came in to, like, promote shit. Like, okay? I don't care.
What are you plugging now?
I don't care about your stupid Tooth Fairy movie, Dwayne.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, shit.
But they let him get away with it.
Like, to me, to me, if Rock was like an active competitor, he'd be like Hogan. Like he'd be like the modern day Hogan. Like he anything that makes him look bad or whatnot, he doesn't want.
He tells as big as lie. He's as big a liar as Hogan now too.
And the one time he did do something unselfish and not make it about himself, when he like had Cody Rhodes beat him up, he like 3 months later came and was like, "Hey, we're best friends. That doesn't matter. We're erasing that shit." That is selfish, and people don't see it. And they're just like, The Rock is great. He's a great draw.
And then his idea of turning Cody heel, like it's like, he's your number one fucking merch seller. You want to turn him heel now? Like now, a year in of being, he just fucking beat Roman last year. Oh, okay, we're gonna turn him heel. No, that's not a fucking good idea, idiot.
Dude, imagine the timeline where they try and turn Cody heel and he leaves because of it.
God.
He goes back to AEW and it's the same reason he left AEW.
Yeah, because it's just.
No, if I was Cody and they pitched that to me, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, no, we're not doing that. No.
I would have been pissed even having to lose to John Cena at fucking Mania.
Yeah, I mean,
it made him look as a that reign is now. Yeah, it was over a year, but people are going to look back on it and be like,
They shouldn't. It started off bad because of Solo. Had really good matches with AJ, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Solo was a hamper because
the Cena feud could have been good, but it wasn't. The match was awful. And their rematch isn't going to be much better, I don't think. But, like, I'm not going to let it stop me from thinking that, like, Cody Rhodes gave some damn good work during that year.
Are you on my side in the fact of that you think Solo Sikoa was overrated?
100%. I think recently he's been doing his best work with the comedy stuff. I've been like,
comedy wise, yeah, he's been fun, but
I've been behind him, but like, that's it.
I don't think he's that interesting, and I don't think he's that good of a worker.
Like, he was rumored to be like the second coming of Umaga. Like,
where
came in and they're like, yeah.
Then Jacob Fatu showed up, and it's just like, yeah, it's me, dog.
I loved how the reports
sit over there.
They were worried that Fatu might overshadow Solo, and he did immediately.
We've talked about that too.
That was the first thing I told everybody. I said when he debuted, I'm like, they're gonna fucking be worried that he's gonna outshine him, and that's exactly what he's done. Like everybody is just looking at Jacob Fatu, and they're just like, this guy is like money. Yeah, and Solo comes out, and everybody's just like, eh.
But WWE is gonna slowly start entering troubled waters with Jacob Fatu if they don't start having some more serious matches and opponents. Don't have him stay in the Solo vortex too long, because otherwise it's going to kind of expose him for doing the same thing in his matches.
I think he'll be all right.
I hope so.
I think he'll be all right. I think it was a good, one of the few things that happened in that month's Money in the Bank match was that turn. So I think they're going to be able to right the ship, at least with Solo, at least with Jacob Fatu. So
I think best case scenario, you have a decent program with Solo, have Solo take the US title, move Jacob up to the world title picture. 3 months maybe.
Well, actually, I'd have Jacob Fatu win that feud and then lose the title in like a multi-man match.
I just think like
lose
Solo. I think the only way to save Solo from true burial and being a complete joke of a wrestler is him winning this feud. That's the only way.
I don't think they're saving him.
I think because like you give him the U.S. title, and at least he can get a chance with that singles gold, and like you have a talent that you didn't just completely ruin. But I also don't care because like I'm sick of the bloodline bullshit.
I don't even think they ruined him. I just don't think he's. I don't think he has the talent as much as I thought he did. That's my kind of aspect of with it. I don't blame the company. I don't even blame him. I just don't think he's as talented as people thinks he is.
They just put him in such a high prominent position so early on into his wrestling career.
It was a no-win spot.
It is. And it's like I can't determine if Solo is complete trash off of this, because he could leave WWE, reinvent himself in a year, and come back and be the next big thing.
That's true.
So but like, I can look at LA Knight and be like, yeah, this is his shtick. If this doesn't work, it's over. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to reinvent himself, or he shouldn't, because this is a character that works. But,
Jay's always got Jimmy, and Jimmy's always got Jay. So the Usos will be fine, right?
Yeah.
But it's an LA Knight. This is all or nothing. It's like this. This has to succeed. Yeah! Solo, you're right. I think that he could go out for a year and on the indies or work for another company, get his shit together, go to TNA, kind of reinvent himself there, and then come back in a year.
Yeah, that could work. I think that could be something that happens with Cross here in a little while.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not on the big we want Cross train, but
me neither.
If you have people clamoring for it, at least push him out there,
I think my problem with Cross has always been, it's like, yeah, the internet fans love him, but then the mainstream people are just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, that's one of the few things where I'm disconnected from the online audience on that one. I've never seen anything special about Killer Cross, Karrion Kross. I thought Adam Cole completely ruined his career in NXT with that one promo.
I agree.
He has not been the same. He hasn't recovered
from that. I whenever I see him, I just think of Mark Marrow.
Yeah.
And if you know,
I think Mark Marrow was still better in the ring, more entertaining.
Yes, Mark Marrow was better in the ring. And I did like Johnny B. Bad as a gimmick, but like
Johnny B. Bad was fun.
That was a fun gimmick. It was when he went to WWE, and then, oh, hi, Sable. Oh, Mark Marrow's next to you. I don't even know who that guy. Oh, hey, hi, Sable. Like, especially too when the age bracket that I was in when Sable was around, it was 14, 15 years old. So it's just like, automatically my focus is going to be to the blonde next to you. I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, we need to know it. Brawl for All.
I forgot he was in that.
He probably does too.
So my last question for tonight before we part. Do you believe in Joe Hendry?
Absolutely. I love Joe Hendry. So, gosh, I truly am a mark because I've been watching Joe since WCPW. It was like a YouTube wrestling show.
Oh yes, What Culture Pro, yes.
Exactly, yeah. And he was one of those dime a dozen heels. Goes in the ring, does some headlocks here and there, gets the crowd upset. And his turnaround in ICW when he started doing parodies of people entrance music is when I was like, okay, Joe Hendry might have something special. And I'm so glad I was right. Because, like, man, that character is a gold mine. I can't believe it's lasted as long as it has. And I don't even think it's reached the peak yet. I think that once he signs that WWE contract, there's going to be big things in the future for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that character and the, or if it's going to be the same gimmick, or if he's going to try to reinvent himself again, which you take a risk in doing that, but
WWE could just probably be stupid and turn him heel just to see how it works. That's what they love to do. They're like, oh, we got to see if you can play both roles.
That's probably still one of my favorite RKOs too of all time, of him just doing the pose at Mania.
Yeah, and then just bang. I had no problem with Orton beating him in like a quicker time. Like,
no, I had no issue with that.
The TNA champion got on the WrestleMania, first time ever, history, and he's facing Randy Orton, who's one of the greatest of all times.
I had a problem with the overall show of Mania.
Oh yeah,
but that wasn't like one of the major things that bothered me. Like the show of Mania bothered me, but that wasn't the things where I just sat there and I'm like, it kind of didn't make any sense, but okay.
People saying that like we're overreacting on how bad Mania's main event was. You're going to tell me you watched the previous Mania's main event and then you watched this year's and you're not upset?
The previous two Manias, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I mean,
even night one.
Yeah.
Night 1 and 2. Like, and then you get Cody.
Well, I'm saying night 1 this year, though, too. You have CM Punk, you have Roman Reigns, you have Seth Rollins, and then this is your really night 2 finish. Like,
it's like you had a potential for so many big surprises, big returns, big moments. This is where you can blow your shot, and we get Travis Scott, a rapper. We get a fucking rapper in the main event of WrestleMania, and we're not supposed to be upset.
It was bookended with shit because the show started with Jey Uso winning by tap out over Gunther. And then we have Travis Scott helping John Cena win the title, his 17th championship. And the year before, it was like we had 18 fucking cameos. The entire Avengers had to try to help Cody beat Roman Reigns. And yet fucking Travis Scott comes out and John Cena miraculously wins the title.
And you want to hear the worst part about it that doesn't get talked about? Stone Cold was fucking there.
I know he was.
He was there in the
town.
segment before.
Yeah,
like he came out to announce the attendance. You couldn't have saved that? You couldn't have had him do a stunner to Cena?
Plus, you would have saved yourself the lawsuit from that ABT incident.
All I wanted,
ATV.
literally, I didn't care that Cena was going to beat Cody. I just wanted to see Stone Cold hit The Rock with a stunner. That's all
Yes.
I wanted.
That's all I wanted.
And
That's all I wanted last year
anything.
because the Undertaker's cameo was a bit out of place. Like
But no,
we all
Rock-
wanted it to be Austin, but we were okay with Taker, but we all wanted the Austin run in.
Austin is very good at protecting the business and not like exposing truth too much. And like when he said like, yeah, I mean, I was in town, I was down to do it, but they didn't have anything for me. I think they did. I think Rock turned it down. I think they were like, hey, we're going to have Stone Cold come in, stun you. And then like, this is going to happen. And he's like, no, I'm not getting fucking stunned.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Doesn't work for me,
brother.
Whatever they say. Samoan, I don't know.
So, Manny, thanks for coming on. We're definitely going to have you on again because you definitely add a new type of you add a different perspective to the show sometimes.
I'm glad you all enjoyed yourselves. I had a blast. I hope that all the jabronis and marks out there can finally appreciate not only my talent in writing, but my talent with words, my wisdom. All right. And if I have any words of advice for anybody out there, it's simple. Stay golden, pony boy, and always support the indies.
Yeah, those are fine words to close us out here tonight on that. So Manny, thanks again for coming on. Mac, do you have anything else to close us out tonight with? Do you have anything else that you would like to discuss?
Nope. I think that is the perfect place to end it.
Perfect. Well, thanks everybody. Remember to subscribe to PWW Talks on Spotify, Apple, Audacity, wherever you get your podcasts. And also be sure to catch PWW Talks on YouTube under Diamond Podcasting Productions. Be sure to catch us here next week as we will be previewing Night of Champions and, of course, the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring, which completely makes sense of having the coronation at Night of Champions. That was something we didn't get to discuss. We were bitching about that at the beginning of the program in our pre-show of just like, that's a way to confuse the audience. But
I'm
whatever.
sure we will bitch about it next week, too.
We will to no end. All right, folks. Have a great week, and we will see you back here next week. Thanks, everybody.